This is the Tax Talk. My name is Oinlola Sale. On this show, we focus on tax-related issues with specific reference to Lagos State. First, let's check out business news.
This is business news. The Lagos State government has secured a partnership with the African Export-Import Bank and Access Bank for a significant investment of $1.35 billion in infrastructure projects. Mr. Babajide Sanwo-Olu, governor of Lagos State, in a post on his official X handle, announced that the state signed a partnership deal with the two banks at the second Africa-Caribbean Trade and Investment Forum 2023 in Georgetown, Guyana. Lagos State last year shortlisted a consortium led by Portuguese builder Mortal Engine and two Chinese ventures to build a $2.5 billion bridge that is expected to relieve severe congestion in the megacity. The fourth mainland bridge will be built under a public-private partnership. According to the governor, the investment will be utilized for several long-term infrastructure projects in Lagos, including the construction of the fourth mainland bridge, the Omo Creek project, and the second phase of the LRMT Blue Line from Maitu to Kokomaiko. This project aims to alleviate congestion, improve transportation, and support the growing economy of Lagos, the largest city in sub-Saharan Africa with an estimated 20 million population. Governor Sanwo-Olu expressed his confidence in the partnership, emphasizing that it demonstrates the trust and belief of international and local partners in the economic growth of Lagos. He also highlighted other ongoing projects such as the Lekki-Ekpe International Airport and the Lagos Food Systems and Logistics Hub in Ekpe, which will further contribute to the economic development of Lagos. Overall, this investment is expected to power long-term infrastructure projects and contribute to the realization of Lagos' vision for a better future, boosting the economy and serving future generations. The chairman of the Presidential Committee on Fiscal Policy and Tax Reforms, Mr. Ayodele, says the federal government is planning to introduce new foreign exchange rules, including a crackdown on illegal currency trading by end of 2023. According to him, it is hoped that the move will result in the Naira closing it more than 45% gap with the unofficial rate and reaching a fair price by year-end. In an interview with Bloomberg, Ayodele said the government plans to clear a backlog of dollar demand estimated at about $6.7 billion, boost the Naira forward market, and set transparent rules for the operations of the official market. He mentioned that the movement intends to address the backlog of dollar demand, estimated at $6.7 billion, and strengthen the Naira forward market. The government also plans to establish transparent rules for the operations of the official foreign exchange market. Mr. Ayodele, who previously held positions at PricewaterhouseCoopers, stated that the government expects these changes to take effect by December. He believes that within a few weeks, the result of these measures will begin to show, leading to the Naira finding its true value by the end of the calendar year. Mr. Ayodele mentioned that the government sees a fair price for the dollar in the range of 650 Naira to 750 Naira. In a move to eliminate multiple taxation, the Presidential Committee on Fiscal Policy and Tax Reforms has proposed the stoppage of 190 taxes choking businesses in the country. The panel made this known while presenting its quick win report to President Bola Tinubu, who endorsed its far-reaching recommendations on tax and fiscal policies during a brief ceremony at the presidential villa in Abuja. The chairman of the committee, Mr. Ayodele, while presenting his report to the president, said the panel suggested a measure of over 200 taxes being paid by Nigerian businesses into 10. In his prayers to the president, Ayodele, among others, called for an emergency economic intervention bill and the issuance of presidential executive orders to address the duplication of functions across the public service and to ensure prudent public financial management in a bid to optimize value from government assets and natural resources. Responding to the committee's presentation, the president commended their work and assured them of his support for the review and implementation of key recommendations. A statement by the Special Advisor to the President on Media and Publicity, Mr. Jurin Gelale, disclosed that the President directed his Special Advisor on Policy Coordination, Ms. Hadiza Bala Usman, to coordinate with the relevant government officials for the session. The Chartered Institute of Taxation of Nigeria has urged tertiary institutions in Nigeria to inaugurate tax associations in relevant departments in order to expose students in the country to opportunities in the tax space. The CITN Chairman, Student Affairs and Tertiary Education Relations Committee, Dr. Ruth Ademola, said this during the maiden edition of the Association of Nigerian Taxation Students National Essay Competition in Lagos. At the event, the institute declared the winners of its competition to consist of Chiamaka Precious of University of Ilorin, who came first and won 200,000 naira. Chemi Zue Felix of University of Nigeria and Suka, who came second and won 150,000 naira, while Morenike Oyeleke of University of Lagos came third and won 100,000 naira. Ademola said, quote, "We hereby call on the leadership of tertiary institutions in Nigeria to join the moving train by inaugurating tax association tax clubs in relevant departments of their academic institutions, and to also register with ANTAS to open their students to the ongoing opportunities that CITN and ANTAS offered to grow future leaders that will take over the management of fiscal and economic wealth of this nation, knowing that revenue generation dwindling in crude oil is opening doors for taxation to shape national income." End quote. Ademola added that ANTA's intention is to also make formal contributions to the ongoing debate on tax reforms by engaging the bright minds of its membership across country to make submissions. 84 ANTA's members registered for the essay competition. 34 essay entries were received for the first stage competition with the topic Fiscal Policy and Tax Reforms, the implications for national development in Nigeria's high inflation economy. And that's it on Business News.
On today's edition, we will be helping you with the ins and outs of understanding personal income tax, the definition of personal income tax, eligibility, timeframes involved, benefits, penalties, and the role the Lagos State Internal Revenue Service plays in all this. Joining me from the LIRS to help us dissect this topic is the Director of Personal Income Tax, Mr. Ayodele Adebayo. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you very much. Nice to be here.
For the purpose of clarity, could you explain the concept of personal income tax? Who pays it? And should it be paid monthly or yearly? And to what platform should taxpayers pay the personal income tax to?
I think I would like to start by, first of all, looking at what personal income tax is all about. Personal income tax is a statutory obligation, enacted by the government, and it's something that is guided by an act by 2000 and by Personal Income Tax Act 2004, and it has various types of income that are attributed to personal income tax. We have the direct assessment. We have a PSUN. For PSUN is an obligation by any corporate organization, communities, and the rest of it, executors, trustees, and they are they're expected to remit on behalf of the state taxes collected on behalf of their staff. Why also certain category of people, professionals, I'm talking about the surveyors of this world, the lawyers, and other professionals, they come under direct assessment. Now, when it comes to the issue of, remittances and the time of obligation, whether it's paid monthly or yearly. Number one, there are certain rules for payee. It's also guided by law. And this is paid by the organization. They must file their returns on behalf of on behalf of the employees. Payee, that is pay as you earn, is for 30 days. January 2nd till the end of the month of January, which is 31st, of January. Now, for direct assessment, which is paid by individual that I mentioned earlier, that I'm talking about the professionals of this world, the lawyers, the surveyors, they are also expected to file their returns annually, which commences also in January. And by law, it is also expected, to end by the 31st 3 months, which is 90 days rule. I remember many years back, before we started e-filing, when people come to, to our offices, it's ironical. We have to get them tents. They have to come and, submit their CDs, flash drive, and the rest of it. But all these are in the past now. So people can go, on eTax into LRS platform, log into eTax, and, just populate it. So easy for them. This can be done under, 10 to 30 minutes. You fill in all the necessary information, you file your returns, and before you know it, people are able to interact with the systems. That's one area where we've been able to, bring taxation, nearer and closer to the people, for them to be able, do it at their own convenience.
So that means the payments can be made on the eTax platform?
Yeah, it can be made. And we've even gone a step further. Let me say this.
Okay.
On the system, we have some banks there. And when you have, you've done your filings and the rest of it, you can click the buttons. You can choose, your payment mode and the rest of it.
Sir, which types of taxes are within the purview of the LRS for collection?
We have various types. And I think number one on the list, as mentioned earlier, is a pay-as-you-earn, which is collected by various organizations on behalf of the states. And we also have direct assessment, which is also being paid by individuals, professionals, and the rest of it. And even from informal sector end, they all fall under the category of the informal sector. In addition to that, we have withholding taxes. We have various lines of revenue under withholding taxes. We have the withholding taxes on bank interest. We have withholding taxes on dividend. We have withholding taxes on directors' fees. We have withholding taxes on 10%. Let me also say that the four categories that I just mentioned, 10% of what is earned is paid as withholding taxes on the gross amount.
Is there a particular group of individuals who are exempted from paying personal income tax? And what are the criteria for such exemptions?
It is only the pensioners that are exempted. Then one other area where people could be exempted is in the area of agric. For instance, now where an individual had ventured into agric, and he or she had also collected a loan. The interest element on that loan, is tax exempt, but there must be proof that such person had also collected loan.
Are individuals who earn minimum wage, are they tax exempt?
For individual that earns minimum of 30,000 per month, they are tax exempt. That's what the law says. But the law also says that there's a minimum that such person can pay, which is just 3,000. That is 10% of that.
Sir, you've shared quite a bit of knowledge so far, and it has been interesting. And we still have some more questions to ask you, but we need to go on a quick break.
Thank you.
Time for a short break. The Tax Talk continues when we get back.
Have you had a hard time with taxes and understanding tax administration in Lagos State and the complex nature of Nigerian tax law? Do you know what agency or tier of government collects the various types of taxes? Have you ever found yourself asking any of these questions? Join us for your favorite program, The Tax Talk, your infotainment program.
Welcome back. If you're just joining us, we have the Director of Personal Income Tax, LIRS, with us. Mr. Adebayo, as part of your duties, do you ensure that taxpayers know their obligations and rights as well?
For taxpayers, they have obligations that they must fulfill to the state and to the agency. And for their rights, they also have their rights. And I'll start from the right. They have the rights, how the assessments were raised. They have the rights to know. They also have the right to know what the tax liability is, which must also be communicated to them in writing. And in terms of obligation, they have an obligation to also ensure that they file their returns, annually, both from the individual end, from the corporate end. It's an obligation, and it's a statutory obligation that must be, done by all and sundries.
Sir, you mentioned earlier that filing tax returns is one of the obligations imposed on taxpayers. What are the potential consequences of failing to comply with this requirement?
Failure to do that, according to Peter, that is a personal income tax, Section 81, says that for every corporate organization that fails to file their return, shall pay a sum of 500,000 penalty for failure to render their returns as appropriate. And the same thing goes for enterprise. Most enterprises are owned by individuals who have failed to do so. They shall have a penalty of about 50,000. However, there's also a section of the law which also says that where a taxpayer fails to render returns as appropriate, that person shall be charged whatever it is that is the gross earning of the preceding years in line with the law. So the penalties are there.
There have been some concerns raised by taxpayers and prospective owners in Lagos regarding the numerous imposed taxes which seem to have a significant impact on small businesses. Some are questioning the reasonableness of such taxes. What is the agency's position on this matter?
For small businesses, I sympathize with them. A lot of them, suffers from the local government levies that are imposed of them, shop levy, vacuum levy, this levy, and the rest of it. So, and I think to a large extent, GTB is looking at it. The state is also, looking at that. But there's been a lot of, issues on that, whether, Lagos state government is the one that is collecting those taxes. No, we are not. Those are levies that are currently being collected by, the local government. I've highlighted some of the taxes that we collect. Business premises, which is just 5,000 per annum. I know some local governments also collect that, but I think they are trying to also harmonize that. The development levy, which is 100 naira, is paid by an individual on tax liability of every person, which this applies to both payee as well as, direct assessment. So basically, those are just the taxes that every state board had been mandated, to collect.
In the event that an employee experiences dissatisfaction with their employer regarding tax compliance, what measures does the Lagos State Internal Revenue Service have in place to protect such an employee who reports this issue?
I think we've put, a mechanism in place, for us to be able to reach out to, taxpayers, whose rights have been infringed upon. We have a whistleblowing platform where they can channel their complaint. And the beauty of it is that this channel is being managed by an independent consultant. There's no issue of maybe there will be, partiality in the course of review and the rest of it. So we have a whistleblowing, channel in place where people can also make sure that their complaints are channeled through.
Lastly, as the head of the Department of Personal Income Tax at the LIRS, what strategies do you implement to optimize revenue generation for the state?
Believe you me, it's a daily strategy, trying to look at how best we can improve the collection for the state. Part of what we've done is to set up an intelligence unit to also, assist us in driving, our revenue. For instance, now our e-tax platform, we constantly review it. We constantly, see how best we can improve on our e-tax platform. where we can also, ensure that our information gathering, is well, articulated. It's also well done in such a way that we can have information that will also assist us in our revenue drive.
Thanks so much for coming on the show today. Your answers have provided clarity on a number of matters.
Thank you very much.
Today's discussion has been on understanding personal income tax, and I hope we're able to provide answers to some of your personal musings. The Tax Talk continues right after this break.
I will make a start shortless business. They give 150K to my friends. Let's do this. Taxes? I didn't even think about this. So I'll have to pay tax to build a house in Lagos. Maybe I should take a remote job. That way, I can avoid taxes. But wait though, bloggers and content creators pay taxes too. So tax officials in Lagos monitor digital space for tax payment. Wait, why don't I start importing and exporting of phones and gadgets? Bro, how far now?
Femo, how far?
Bro, I won't join the business where they do.
Oh, smart. You just need money. I hope you have your tax clearance certificate.
Tax? Are you kidding me?
Without it, shishi, you know fit do. You have to visit the nearest tax office.
I can't believe it. There's no way out of this. I have to face my tax obligations if I want to start a life in Lagos.
Dear Lagosians, your taxes enable the government to invest in education, healthcare, security, housing, and many more. By continuing to pay your taxes, you are investing in a brighter future for all. This message is brought to you by the Lagos State Internal Revenue Service, LIRS.
We continue the show with Tax Did It. This segment, as usual, is meant to bring you up to speed on those projects the LIRS has undertaken using taxpayers' money. It's part of our efforts to enlighten you on the work the LIRS is doing in Lagos State, work that is quickly becoming the model for states all over the Federation. Stay tuned. You're still tuned to the Tax Talk, and it's time for us to go out and tax your brain.
Hi, my name is Nifemi. Welcome to Tax Your Brain on the Tax Talk. We have an interesting question for the residents of Lagos today. Let's see who gets it right.
Okay, thank you very much. What LIRS does is to collect taxes from companies for this due for the state government.
Tax collection. That's basically what they are there for. Is to collect taxes due for the state government.
To collect tax for the state government.
The primary function, to my own basic knowledge, is about getting the revenue, that is to collect the internally generated revenue for Lagos State, if I'm not mistaken.
What do you have to say, sir?
Thank you, LIRS. Thank you, Tax Talk. God bless you.
That's it for today, guys. I hope you were able to learn something. See you next time. Bye.
It's time to draw the curtains on the show. We've taken you through the ropes on understanding personal income tax. We checked out Tax Did It segment and the LIRS diary. I hope you learned a thing or two. My name is Oyinlola Sale. Keep a date with us next week.